Mike Tyson was never dangerous for just one reason. It was never only the power, never only the speed, and never only the knockouts. What made Tyson terrifying was the way he brought all of it together at once. The moment he stepped into the ring, the atmosphere changed. Opponents weren't just facing a heavyweight champion. They were facing pressure, fear, violence, and chaos in human form. Tyson didn't give fighters time to think, breathe, or settle in. He attacked their body, their chin, and their confidence all at the same time. And before the first round was even over, many men already looked broken. That is what made Mike Tyson different from almost everyone else in boxing history. He wasn't just built to win. He was built to overwhelm, intimidate, and destroy. Before his opponent could even believe the fight had truly begun. So before Mike Tyson even threw a punch, the damage had often already begun. There was something deeply unsettling about the way he entered the ring. No smile, no wasted movement, no sign of doubt. He looked locked in, as if the fight had already been decided in his mind. Opponents could feel that energy immediately. Tyson didn't carry himself like a man hoping to win. He carried himself like a man arriving to take something from you. That aura changed everything. Fighters became tense, cautious, and mentally trapped before the opening bell had even settled. And against someone like Tyson, hesitation was deadly. The moment a boxer stopped trusting his own rhythm, Tyson took control. That psychological edge mattered just as much as the physical one, because fear made good fighters slower, weaker, and far easier to break once the real violence started. What truly separated Mike Tyson from other heavyweights was speed, violent, explosive speed that didn't look natural for a man his size. Heavyweights were supposed to be powerful, but they were not supposed to move like Tyson moved. He closed distance in a flash, slipped punches by inches, and answered with combinations so fast that opponents barely had time to react. 1 second they thought they were safe, and the next, Tyson was already inside, unloading hooks and uppercuts with terrifying precision. His head movement made him even harder to track. He was never standing still long enough to become an easy target, constantly weaving, dipping, and shifting forward like a coiled weapon. That movement forced opponents to miss, and every miss created an opening for Tyson to explode. He didn't just attack fast. He made fighters feel late, frozen, and helpless, which is exactly why his speed became one of the most dangerous weapons boxing had ever seen. Mike Tyson's power was frightening on its own, but power alone does not explain why he was so dangerous. Boxing history is full of heavy hitters. What made Tyson different was the way he delivered that power with timing, balance, and brutal accuracy. He did not swing wildly and hope something landed. He attacked with purpose. Every punch looked compact, explosive, and targeted, whether he was going to the body or snapping a hook toward the jaw. That made his offense far more destructive than the average knockout artist. Tyson also understood how to build damage. He would rip into the ribs, force a guard to drop, and then come upstairs in the same sequence before an opponent could recover. Those combinations were short, tight, and violent. There was no wasted motion, which meant his punches arrived faster and cleaner than most heavyweights could handle. And because he stayed balanced while throwing, he was always in position to fire again immediately. That was the real danger. Tyson was not just trying to hurt opponents with one punch. He was creating openings, breaking resistance, and overwhelming fighters with precise violence. A single shot could shake a man, but Tyson's accuracy made every exchange feel like a trap. Once he found the target, he rarely let the opponent escape without serious damage. That is why his power felt different. It was not just heavy. It was smart, fast, and almost impossible to survive when combined with everything else he brought into the ring. One of the most overlooked reasons Mike Tyson was so dangerous was the way his defense created offense. Most fighters defend to survive. Tyson defended to get closer, to take away space, and to put himself in perfect position to strike back with force. His head movement was not there for show. Every slip, dip, and weave had a purpose. He made opponents miss by inches, then exploded forward before they could reset. That made even experienced fighters feel like they were punching at a moving target that was somehow getting closer every second. His peekaboo style was crucial to this. With his gloves high, chin protected, and upper body constantly moving, Tyson made himself difficult to hit clean. But the real danger came after the miss. The second an opponent extended too far or lost balance, Tyson was already inside, throwing hooks to the body or uppercuts through the middle. Defense and attack were connected in one fluid motion. This is what made Tyson terrifying at close range. He didn't wait for clean textbook openings. He forced them by making fighters uncomfortable and punishing their mistakes instantly. A missed jab, a lazy hook, even a moment of hesitation could become disaster. Tyson's defensive movement was not passive. It was aggressive, calculated, and built to turn every failed attack into a chance for destruction. That is why he was never just hard to hit. He was dangerous even when he looked like he was defending. Mike Tyson's danger was not only physical, it was psychological, and in many fights that may have been the most powerful weapon of all. So long before the first clean punch landed, opponents were already fighting a battle in their own heads. Tyson's reputation entered the ring before he did. Fighters knew what they had seen on tape: quick knockouts, brutal combinations, and opponents collapsing under pressure they could not handle. That knowledge created fear, and fear changes everything. A fearful fighter does not think clearly. He hesitates. He tightens up. He stops trusting his instincts. Against Tyson, even a small hesitation could be fatal, because Tyson attacked with such speed and confidence that doubt became a doorway to disaster. Some opponents became so focused on surviving the storm that they forgot to fight their own fight. Instead of staying calm and disciplined, they reacted. And once Tyson forced a man into pure reaction mode, the contest was already leaning in his favor. This is what made Tyson different from a normal puncher. He did not just hurt a fighter's body, he damaged timing, confidence, and composure. Men who looked skilled and dangerous against others suddenly looked uncertain against him. That was not an accident. Tyson's pressure made opponents feel trapped, and trapped fighters make mistakes. In boxing, fear can drain energy faster than punches. Tyson understood that, and in his prime, he used it like a weapon just as deadly as his fists. Behind Mike Tyson's violence was a system, and the architect of that system was Cus D'Amato. Tyson did not become dangerous by accident. He was shaped into that force through obsessive training, mental conditioning, and a style built to maximize every one of his natural gifts. What Cus saw more than raw power in Tyson. He saw explosive speed, rare balance, and a level of aggression that could either destroy the young fighter or make him unstoppable if it was properly controlled. Under Cus, that aggression became disciplined. The peekaboo style was central to everything. It taught Tyson how to move his head, close distance, stay protected, and explode from angles that most heavyweights were not prepared for. But Cus gave him more than technique. He gave him belief. He trained Tyson to think like the hunter, never the hunted. Confidence was drilled into him just as deeply as combinations and footwork. Tyson entered fights believing he belonged in complete control, and that mindset gave even more force to his style. What made this so dangerous was the combination of structure and fury. Tyson was not reckless, yet he was educated aggression. Every step forward, every slip, every hook had a purpose behind it. Cus helped turn a gifted puncher into a complete fighting machine, and for a period of time, that machine looked almost impossible to stop, because it was built not just on talent, but on design, discipline, and absolute conviction. Even now, decades later, Mike Tyson still feels different from almost every heavyweight who came before or after him. It is not just because of the knockouts, though those remain some of the most violent and unforgettable in boxing history. It is because Tyson brought together every element of danger in one complete package. He had the speed of a much smaller man, the power to end fights in a single burst, the defensive movement to make opponents miss, and the mindset to make them doubt themselves before the real damage even began. That combination is rare. In Tyson's case, it felt almost unnatural. What made him so dangerous in the ring was never one weapon by itself. It was the way everything connected. The intimidation fed the pressure. The pressure created mistakes. The mistakes opened the door for speed, accuracy, and power to take over. Once Tyson gained momentum, many fighters looked less like opponents and more like men trying to survive, something they had not fully prepared for. That is why Tyson still lives in boxing mythology. He was not just a champion with knockout power. He was a force that overwhelmed the senses and broke fighters on multiple levels at once. And that is what made Mike Tyson so dangerous in the ring. He did not just beat opponents. In his prime, he made them feel hopeless.